I almost did it, man. I almost did it, bro. I almost left my wife, man. And I know y'all watching this like, hold on, bro, hold on. This is not a way to talk about this, man. You shouldn't bring this to the public eye. What are you doing? Is this a divorce announcement? No, brother, I'm talking about this in retrospect, man. This was a couple years ago, man. I wasn't happy. I felt like I wasn't being respected. I felt like I wasn't appreciated. I felt like, you know, it was just maybe going nowhere, that maybe I shouldn't do this anymore. I didn't want to ride this ride anymore, but I'm so glad that I continued to stay in the game, stay in the fights, ride the ride, and not get off, because I love my freaking marriage, man. I love my wife, never been happier, beautiful family. We communicate better than ever, and we wouldn't have gotten to this point if I had called it quits. And I'm making this video because a lot of you guys, maybe if you click this video, maybe you're either going through it or you've been through it, are calling it quits too early. I see so many of my friends, man, that, you know, I attended their weddings a couple years ago. They're already divorced. But the whole point of me making this video is this, man. The question is, should you get married at a young age? Now, I believe that you should get married at a young age. I got married at 21 years old, and I've been married for going on 8 years next year, man. And it's been such a freaking blessing. And I'm so glad that we got married at a young age, and I'm gonna explain to you why. Because I believe when you get married at a young age, you grow together. You guys are molded together, right? Now, I'm not saying that if you get married in your, you know, late 30s, 40s, whatever, that you can't be molded together, but it's a lot more difficult. Why? Because you have a lot more life experience. You might have some traumas from past relationships. You know, you are a little bit more stuck in your ways, right? Because you've been living life, you know, for all these years, you know, on your own. Now, all of a sudden, you're gonna have, you know, a spouse tell you what to do or suggest things to you. You're like, man, I've been doing things on my own this whole time, man. You can't tell me what to do. So you're a little bit less agreeable, right? And obviously, that is not a positive trait to have in a marriage, right? Because it's all about sacrifice and compromise and communication. And sometimes when you get to a certain age, you don't really want to explain yourself to anybody. And so that's why I say getting married at a young age is a beautiful thing. It helps in that way because you guys are a little bit more impressionable. You're moldable. You guys, like I said, are being formed together to become one, which is the whole point of freaking marriage in the first place, man. All right? Anyways, you know, I had somebody gave me this advice, or at least I heard this advice. Maybe they weren't giving me the direct advice. Very wise though, analogy. I like this, and I'm gonna use it for you guys. They said marriage is like a geologist that has these two rocks. They're two rough, jagged, sharp rocks, and they have this bag. And in this bag, it's like the fabric is made to, you know, be rough and be able to handle these rocks in there and not, you know, tear. And you put these two rocks in there, these two jagged, rough, sharp rocks together, and the geologist is shaking that bag up. Now, why is he shaking the bag up? He's shaking the bag up because through that process, the rocks bumping against each other and the sharpness and roughness and, you know, the toughness of the rocks rubbing against each other is going to kind of smooth the rocks out. You're kind of breaking the rocks down, but they become smooth through the process. Now, the geologist opens the bag up, takes a look in the bag, looks at the rocks, says, they're not smooth enough yet. Closes the bag back up, shakes them up some more, right? Opens the bag up, looks in the bag, still not smooth enough. Closes it again and keeps going. So round after round, this is happening, right? But in the process of this vicious and violent shaking of the rocks and beating up against each other and chips falling off and all this stuff, they're becoming smoother. Now, marriage is like that. You have these two rough, jagged rocks. You put them in a bag together and they're bumping up against each other. It could be a violent process, not physically. I'm not actually saying in real life being physically violent, but I'm saying that, you know, emotionally sometimes it could be a roller coaster. It could be a lot, right? And you have the option to jump out of the bag whenever you want, technically speaking. You can always jump out of the bag. You always have that safety net to be able to jump out of the freaking bag. Now, what I see happening a lot of times, and what the motivation for this video was that I see too many people jumping out of the bag too freaking early. You're jumping out of the bag too freaking early, bro. I can't speak on everyone's situation, but I know a lot of people, with how high the divorce rate is, it only makes sense that a lot of people are jumping out of the bag too freaking early. But if you stay in the bag, like I did, you have a very high likelihood that you're gonna get out of the bag and you guys have two smooth and beautiful rocks that are molded together, that have been through a lot, but because of that, they're even closer. Now they have an unbreakable bond, and that's what I want for you guys. But here's the kicker, bro. You have to find somebody who you believe is worth staying in the bag for. And also, not even just that you have to find somebody that you're willing to stay in the bag with, you need to be careful on who you're choosing to make sure they have the tenacity and the willpower to stay in the bag with you. Because it's a two-way street. Neither one of you can get out of the bag, right? This is a big decision you're making, man. A lot of guys, they spend more time thinking about the car they're gonna buy than the girl they're gonna marry. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to buy a truck or a new car, whatever. They're gonna go on every freaking website. They're gonna go to multiple different dealers. They're gonna talk to different salesmen, try and get the best price. I wanna get this upgrade, I wanna get that, and they're gonna do all the freaking research for months on end to figure out how they're going to freaking make this happen, right? You guys do all that freaking research, that vetting process, but when it comes to your spouse, oh, she was a baddie, bro, I had to marry her. She had the, you know what I'm saying, she was stacked. She had the Coke bottle physique. You know what I'm saying? She was a spicy Latina, the accent got me. I just had to marry her. She's just so sexy. Listen, man, having a sexy wife is phenomenal. I have one myself, so I understand, it's important. However, that's not everything. Does she have nurturing qualities? Is she good at cooking? I know what y'all thinking, like, come on, bro, that's some sexist ass. I'm just saying, bro, let's keep it a stack, man. Y'all want a man to be a certain way. You wouldn't want to be with the man who's not making money and not bringing home the chicken, you know what I'm saying? Bringing home the bacon, the bread. You want somebody to be a provider. You want somebody to be a leader. Well, if I'm outside, going out and hunting, metaphorically speaking, of course, and bringing home the freaking saber-toothed tiger, then I need you to help me cook that saber-toothed tiger up. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I digress. The point is, man, y'all choosing the wrong girls. So they're not gonna be good girls to stay in the bag with anyways, and even if you feel like she's not staying in the bag with you long enough to become smooth and through that process. So be careful who you're choosing. I learned this from my mentor, Mr. Bedros, Queen himself. He says, who you choose as a spouse is the most important thing when it comes to how successful a man will become in his life. Now, I've seen so many people, man, not reach their potential because they just chose the wrong spouse. And I'm not saying the spouse intentionally sabotages them. I'm saying that maybe you want to be an entrepreneur and your wife didn't know that what came with marrying an entrepreneur. So she doesn't know when you're out at all hours of the night, early morning, late nights, just always working, because it's not a typical 9 to 5. You are constantly working. She doesn't know that she signed up for that. So now she's unhappy. She's constantly calling you and texting you while you're out trying to freaking make the money. For her, you're trying to do this for her, for your family, but she doesn't see it that way. She sees it that when she looks over at the pillow, you're not there. You know what I'm saying? That's not what she signed up for. So my point is, man, you need to find somebody who's on the same page with you, who's equally yoked, who has the same core values as you, who wants the same vision, sees the same vision for their family as you do, because this is all part of the process. If you're missing the mark on any one of these points I'm talking about, you run the high likelihood of getting divorced one day. Just letting you know now. Okay, so let's say that you find somebody that you're like, I think I want to marry this person. I think this is the one, right? I want you to ask yourself these questions, and I want you guys to have these conversations together before you freaking get married, right? You can even go to a dinner and you can ask these questions and have a legitimate conversation about this, because it's that important, right? So number one, I need you guys to make sure that you have the same core values, right? When it comes to religion. And I'm not even saying you have to be religious, but what I'm saying is that you need to be careful who you marry, even if you guys are both not religious at all. Just be careful, because maybe one day you have a revelation from God. You're like, man, God's telling me I need to go to church. And you go back to church and your lady's not down for that because she's down to be in clubs and twerk and pop bottles, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And she's like, well, that's your situation, not mine. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, well, I want to go back to church. I want to go with you, right? And she's not down for that. Now, you can't really fault her for that because you got with her when she was down to do all that, because you were down to do all that. What I'm saying is that even if you're not religious right now, you might have a revelation one day and want to go to church. You need to make sure you're with somebody who's not living a lifestyle that's so difficult to kind of pull away from. That's my point. If she's living a lifestyle that's so difficult to pull her away from where it's not even an option, then you're stuck in deep water, bro. So anyways, make sure you guys have similar core values when it comes to religion, maybe when it comes to politics. Now, I'm not saying either red or blue, Democratic or Republican. I'm not saying like that. What I'm saying is that even just on policies, right? You might be pro-choice, she might be pro-life, whatever the case is, or vice versa. If you guys are bumping heads on core issues like that, those are core values, man. Those are very important things to people. And that's why they say never talk about religion or politics, because that's like, it feels like you're talking to the person directly when you diss their party, it ain't your party anyways. But when you're dissing somebody's party, it feels like you're dissing a part of them because their core values are tied to these beliefs, right? So anyways, make sure your core values are on point, because if you don't have similar core values, it's not gonna be a good time, brother. It's not gonna be a good time at all, you know? And I don't want that for you, bro. It's bad for your health. Next point, and on the point of religion, bring God into your relationship. Now, I don't care if you're religious or not, but believe in a higher power, because there is a higher power, whether it's God, whether it's the freaking universe, whatever you wanna call it, bro. Bring God into your relationship, because he is gonna help you through the difficult times. He's gonna help you through the positive times as well. But especially during the difficult times, lean on him. Lean on him. I remember my mom told me this advice one time. She says, you know, I was venting to her about my wife. That's another tip. Don't ever vent to your freaking family about nothing in your relationship. It's just, that's a recipe for disaster. I'll make a whole other video about that another day. But I was venting one day to my mom about my wife, but I was stressed about something, I was upset about something, whatever I was venting about, and she says, man, you need to pray about it. I said, okay, well, you know, what do I say in this prayer? She says, I need you to pray to God, have him work on her heart. Before you talk to her, before you talk to your wife, before you bring it up, you know, to her and bring the issue to her and try and solve it and communicate, pray to God first. And when you go to work, pray that while you're going to work and while you're working for those few hours, that he continues to kind of work on her heart, right? And soften her a little bit and open her up a little bit to where she's receptive to whatever you have to say. I says, okay. So I did that. And such a spiritual experience. And I want you guys all to try this as well, because it worked. You know, when we got in the argument, it was very hard, brash, just anger, right? Frustration, rightfully so. That's how an argument is, a debate is. But when I prayed to God, I said, hey man, soften her heart, please. Because I just want to be able to communicate. I want to stay together. I want everything to go smoothly. I don't want to argue anymore, whatever the case is. And when I met up with her again, we talked. It was like, you know, automatically just like, not even any kind of argument, just coming up and immediately just embrace, just hug. And just like, I'm sorry. I was like, man, that was such a crazy, because typically it wasn't that way. You know what I'm saying? She Latina, and you know the stereotype with Latinas, man. They got attitudes. I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I'm sorry. But anyways, man, I'm freaking rambling, man. But the point is, bring God into your relationship, bro. The next point on top of that is learn how to communicate. Don't be one of these guys that doesn't know how to freaking communicate. The guy that holds everything in until it's too late and he freaking explodes in other ways and punches a freaking hole in the wall. And now you look like a freaking douchebag. You know what I'm saying? Don't be one of those guys, man. That's emotionally reckless. Now you need to become more stoic. You need to learn how to use Socratic questioning. You need to learn how to be more intelligent and articulate when it comes to conveying your message and your debate and your argument, right? Don't be one of these dudes that's emotionally irrational, brother. It ain't, you know what I'm saying? It's not good for the health of your marriage, bro. It's not good for your freaking health. Stressing out and just so mad. Calm down, bro. Calm down, you know what I'm saying? In fact, the crazier or more intense, you know, or dramatic maybe she gets, the more calm and stoic that you should become. Like almost like one of these trees, man. The winds, not one of these like frail ones, but like one of these, like the thick freaking trunk. The winds get crazy over here during winter, and it doesn't matter how crazy the wind's going, that trunk is staying freaking put. The leaves on the tree might go crazy, you know what I'm saying? But the trunk is staying rooted in the ground, immovable, not going anywhere. That should be a representation or a metaphor for your relationship. Women are feminine, and feminine energy is very fluid. It can be very violent sometimes. It can be like water, it can be soft kind of waves, whatever, but it could also be violent waves crashing down upon you because that's their feminine energy. Now, masculine energy needs to be calm, rooted, like I said, in the ground. Doesn't matter how crazy the storm is going around the masculine energy. The masculine energy is rooted in the ground, and you're not gonna be able to get a reaction. That should be you, bro. That should be you. Stop arguing with your girl and yelling at her. If she raises her voice, I'm not saying it's acceptable. Shut that down immediately, because you guys should be talking like adults. But what I'm saying is that you shouldn't be yelling at her back. You shouldn't get reacted or triggered where now you're in a shouting match. Like, no, you're an adult. And that's not good for marriage, bro. I'm telling you right now. Next thing, bro, stop complaining about things, man, especially when you can't do anything to change it. Like, complaining is not gonna fix it. Now, I understand, I'm not saying you need to bottle your emotions up, but like, man, a lot of these dudes, man, complaining too much, bro. Like, for example, right now, if I came outside and I was just like, man, it's so cold out here, man. It's cold, right? You say it again, and then again, and you're like, man, it's just cold. Eventually, you're like, bro, complaining about it's not helping at all. Shut up. We ain't trying to hear that. And first of all, you're a grown man and you're complaining about it being cold. Put a freaking hoodie on, put a beanie on, and shut your mouth up, you know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to hear that. Now, a lot of these dudes are too soft when it comes to, and I'm just talking to you directly, bro. I'm not gonna say these dudes. I'm talking to you, brother. The person that freaking clicked this video. You're complaining about things that are basically not helping you change your situation at all, and that makes you look soft. And that's bad for the health of your freaking marriage, because a girl don't want to feel like she married a dude that complains all the time and soft and freaking complaining about it being cold or being hungry or, you know, oh, you're cold. Put a freaking jacket on, bud. You're hungry, oh my gosh, oh. You can't be hungry for a freaking hour, bro. What you complaining for, man? Anyways, it's just, and I'm talking about almost like to myself in retrospect, because I remember in the past, I was definitely very beta when it came to this kind of things, man. Like I learned this from my mentors, from different men that, you know, I hang around and that have successful marriages and that are farther ahead than me and make more money than me and more successful than me in different areas. Like I learned this from them. Stop complaining about things, bro. Stop complaining about things. It's not changing your situation at all. Now, venting about something is different than complaining, because venting, you're kind of trying to get it out, but you have a solution in mind, or at least you're trying to find a solution. Complaining is just complaining. It's not solution-based. You're not changing the situation at all. And that's obviously not a good thing and not attractive to your freaking wife. Next thing, man, be selfless. Having a successful marriage a lot of times requires you to be selfless, not selfish. And a lot of people are being too selfish nowadays, and that's why their marriage is failing. And they always feel like they have to be the winner in the situation. They always have to come out on top. And when they have a debate or they have an argument, that they know that they're right, because that's what an argument is. Nobody's arguing if they feel like they're not right. There's no point in argument at that point. But you're arguing because you feel like you have the answer, that you are right, that your feelings are justified, and that's why you're arguing in the first place. Now, that is a bad mentality to have, because that means that you have to have a winner. You have to be the winner. You're like, well, I'm arguing because I'm right and I need them to understand that I'm right. You don't need to be the winner, bro. Do you want to be in a happy marriage, or do you want to be right? Do you want to be the winner? Now, I get it, man. Sometimes girls are rational, right? They can be emotional. They read into something that didn't need to be read into. And they created a problem and something that didn't need to be created. But that doesn't mean you need to be the winner all the time, bro. You don't always need to be right. Now, I get it. Your pride is telling you that, no, but I literally am right. I have the receipts, I have the screenshots, whatever. Doesn't matter, bro. Sometimes you don't need to be right all the time. You just need to be happy, you know what I'm saying? And revisit the conversation once things cool down. I'm not even saying to just ignore the situation altogether. Maybe winning is dropping the argument, just going over and hugging her, as hard as it's gonna be because you're upset. Just going over and hugging her, holding her, and you'll literally feel her just relax. You'll feel the hardness, the stiffness just kind of dissipate, just relax, right? Now you have that moment of just like, okay, listen, I don't want to argue, right? You can revisit and have a conversation about it later on when she's more rational, but once she gets in that mood, you're talking to a brick wall, bro. There's no point in arguing in the first damn place, though there is no winner when it comes to that. So that's the next one. Stop trying to be the winner all the time. Sometimes having a successful marriage means you taking the short end of the stick. It is what it is. Next tip, man, you need to be the leader, bro. Don't get married if you're not ready to be the leader. I'm just telling you right now, unless you want to get into a relationship where you and your spouse agree on this, that you don't want a traditional relationship, then sure, go ahead. Yeah, I guess you don't need to be the leader. You can have her be the leader. That's definitely not my household. I don't believe in that. That's not my core values. That's not how I run my marriage. But, you know, to each their own, you know what I'm saying? Now, most of the guys that follow me and click in this video probably want to have a traditional marriage where they are the leaders, where they're the final decision maker, where they're the ones who, you know, maybe they're the provider, they're, you know, the protector, right? But some guys maybe don't want that. So if that's the case, I don't know if the rest of this video is gonna be good for you. But anyways, the point is, bro, you need to be a freaking leader, man. You need to step up. And you can't ask someone to be a leader. I have so many people that reach out to me and they'll ask, they'll say, well, man, I wanna be the leader, but you know, how do I be the leader when she's not letting me lead? What do you mean letting you lead? That doesn't even sound right. That doesn't even make sense. Literally, it doesn't make sense. If you're a leader, you don't ask for leadership. You take leadership. And I'm not saying like a dictator, but I'm saying in your actions and how you carry yourself. Like you can't, you know, if you're, I hate the word alpha male, bro, because it's just stupid. I hate that. I'm not even considering myself an alpha male, whatever. But if you are trying to be this alpha guy, this leader, whatever, the alpha's not gonna ask you if you can lead or not. That don't make no damn sense. He just leads, he just is, and people just follow. That's the whole point of being the alpha. You're not trying to do anything, you're just being you, and people just kind of follow because it makes sense and you have these leadership qualities and traits. So you need to do that as well. And if you don't have those leadership qualities and traits yet, then you need to develop yourself, work on, you know, months on end to, you know, build the physique that you want, build the communication skills that you want, become emotionally disciplined, you know, get your money up, whatever you need to do to become the leader in your household, whatever you feel like is holding you back, figure out what those problems are, which I'm sure you already know what the problems are, fix them, and become more of a leader. Start acting that way. That's how you do it. But you need to lead. A lot of these guys, you guys are getting divorced and you're not, you know, or maybe you're not seen by the girl that you'd like to marry. You're not being seen as a viable candidate because she doesn't see you as a leader. Like a girl is not gonna get in a relationship with you, a serious relationship, get married with you, if she doesn't see you fit as a leader, someone who can lead her, someone who can keep her safe, someone who can protect her. Like, she's not gonna marry you, bro. So you need to show up as a leader before getting married. But even when you get married, don't get soft and become the dude, the dad just like, well, my wife runs the household, she runs the pants. Get the freak out of here, bro. Some soft, Disgusting. Last thing I have for you, man, maintain attraction, man. I see too many guys, man, just get out of shape. You'll get complacent. They don't continue to maintain attraction. They don't want to really continue to put in the work. Now you put in all this work to court your wife, to get her, but you don't continue to put in the work to keep her. That don't make no damn sense to me. Like, you put in all this work to get the girl, but then when you actually get the girl, then you don't put in the work to keep her. Like, if you got her by buying her flowers, you were a gym rat, you know what I'm saying, when you guys first got together, you were in the gym, you know, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever. You were the athlete, and then all of a sudden you guys get together, you let yourself go, and you got a size 44 waist, you stop buying her flowers, and you stopped courting her, you stopped taking her on date nights, you stopped doing the things that you did to get her, you're gonna lose her. It's just simple math. I actually don't really need to explain that to you, so I'm not going to, so I'm gonna keep it at that. Maintain attraction, dudes. Do things that to maintain your attraction physically, mentally, emotionally. Make sure you continue to court her. And obviously this goes both ways, but this is men talking to men, right? I'm talking to you, bro. There's another video out there somewhere on YouTube where a girl's talking to her about advice on how to keep your man, whatever. That's not this page, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, I love y'all, appreciate y'all for watching. I hope you got some good value from this. I'm gonna keep this style of just doing more raw content, no more editing, you know what I'm saying? I just wanna get some good advice to you guys, man. Love you, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for my existing subscribers. I freaking love y'all to pieces. I'm gonna see you on the next video. Peace.